Hey, and welcome back to another episode of Go FUD Yourself. Today is Wednesday.
Degen Wednesday.
It's Wet T-shirt Wednesday. No?
Oh.
I'm wearing a white T-shirt. White on white, which is a really good segue. Thanks to our friends at Benki, which is actually one of my other projects. We got some new merch. White on white. Wasn't sure how it was going to show up on the camera.
It's all right.
It's about as non-visible as I expected it to be.
I feel like your room is dark. I think you need to be in like brighter light for that. Like I think it'd be good on stage.
I'm like a mushroom. I can't have sunlight or I spontaneously combust. Anyways,
Get you a fluorescent.
It's degen day today. So we got a lot of degen-ish stuff to talk about. What are we covering today?
Yeah, we're gonna start with Stonercats. Well, I'm gonna start with Stonercats. I don't think JD has anything to say about Stonercats. And then we got the ETH Churn, which is getting boosted, kind of exciting. There's also this thing happening with the Ethereum Foundation where they want to change the term data availability to data publishing. We're just going to touch on it so that you know it exists. Terra Luna has a new proposal. They've got a new upgrade coming up. Solana is not doing so hot with FTX possibly dumping. And then Sony is starting a blockchain. Binance US doesn't have a CEO anymore. And that's it. That's what we got.
Awesome. All right. Quick reminder, as evidenced by us showing up late today, because we were having some connectivity issues, but we are a live show Monday to Friday, 12:30 p.m. Eastern on all the major venues. So like, share, subscribe, help us get the word out. We don't commercialize the pod other than merch. Send me merch and I'll wear it and rep the brand. Send Kiara merch and I'll be mad at you.
So I can stop wearing band t-shirts for my whole life. I can grow up and wear DeFi t-shirts instead.
Unless we both get the merch, I'll be mad. So
what?
Yeah, this is a very one-sided.
Because I'd look better in it?
Probably. Yeah. Doesn't take much. The bar's pretty low. Anyways.
Okay. All right.
Hold on. Okay. We're gonna play a little bit. We're gonna play a little video and away we go. Ready?
Yeah.
Set. Let's go. All right. Before we get into it, I heard you threw me under the bus by talking about my vices on yesterday's pod.
I did, but we also talked about it the day before. Also, your sound is weird.
Yeah, I can't get it back to my headphones now. I don't know why. It's perfect.
Okay. So yeah, I always throw you under the bus when you're not here. I only badmouth you. Like anytime we're not on a call together, I just talk shit.
Yeah, I mean, I gathered. But also, we all have vices. So poo-poo on you.
That's the joke is I'm like drinking coffee and you're vaping and like gaming. Like we can't make it through 30 seconds without doing that.
Yeah, that's possible. Why? Where is the sound coming out of?
Yeah, that's weird.
I don't even know where it's coming out of because my volume button's not working either. So that's cool. All right.
It's Stonercats.
And here we go. We're trying to work with it. Hopefully you don't get an echo. If you get an echo on Twitter Spaces, I apologize. Anyways, okay. Let's go.
Stonercats. Do you like Stonercats? Do you have a Stonercat? Are you a Stonercat guy?
No.
Oh, well, this is an awkward conversation.
Who would have thought? Who would have thought that? I don't know. I don't know.
The SEC has declared that NFTs, Stonercats, are unlawful. They are unregistered securities, which means that Mila Kunis and Ashton Kutcher, who are in hot water for a bunch of other things right now, also sold unregistered securities. They are being fined. Apparently, they made over $8 million from 100,000 Stonercats 2 years ago. Which, like, I should have done more NFTs, but I guess I'd be getting fined now. But still, they only have to pay a $1 million fine, so I feel like it's not that bad, and destroy all remaining NFTs. I'm not sure what remaining means. I don't know if that means like if people are holding them, they also get destroyed, or if it's just those that were not sold. So that's kind of interesting. And then Stonercats also was a web series, and so this was like a promo component for their web series.
So my only thoughts on this are this to me seems opportunistic. SEC, yeah. You're going after public names for what is probably should be considered small potatoes. They're public names. You know, they have brand reputations connected to them as individuals. So they're going to pay the fine and not be loud about it, most likely.
There's also, do you know the other Ashton Kutcher, Mila Kunis news?
No.
Okay, so Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis, obviously we're on that 70s show together, and the guy who played Hyde was recently convicted of rape, and they had written letters supporting his character and asking for a lighter sentence for him.
Wait,
and that's been in the news.
Which
all
one?
week.
Hyde?
The guy who played Hyde, yeah.
No
two
shit.
accounts. Yeah, and so it's very controversial. They're going to try to have a I can't remember what it's called. So they had a mistrial, and then they had this trial, and he was convicted, and they're going to I've lost the word. They're going to appeal that?
Appeal, yeah.
Appeal, yeah. I don't know how that went away from me today. They're going to say no. He's not going to jail. Anyway, he was offered quite a heavy jail sentence. They're going to appeal that. But Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis have been in the news because, one, Ashton Kutcher provides, he created some sort of database of sex workers where it's supposed to help prevent human trafficking, but he sells the data to police enforcement, and so people are able to enforce against sex workers. And then they wrote these letters about Hyde, not his real name. And now that they're like in the bad books already, I think that it is really opportunistic of the SEC to be like, "Ooh, we're also going to fine you because now is not a good time for you to fight with us." So even I don't know, there's a lot going on for them.
This whole thing just
a little bit tabloidy, but
this whole situation just kind of rubs me the wrong way. I feel like it's just a low-hanging fruit that the SEC is looking for a W.
Totally.
To me, this is freaking ridiculous. They more or less have said, it seems like, based on a lot of these NFT rulings lately, that similar to what's happening in Europe, influencers are pretty much going to be barred from any of these conversations. And second, it's hard to believe that any NFT is not a security according to the SEC at the moment, or most NFTs are securities according to the SEC. I'm just surprised they're actually enforcing this the way they are.
I just also think that this is, like you say, opportunistic beyond that, because in a different timeline, Mila Kunis and Ashton Kutcher probably have the funds to fight it a little bit because they could take that stand. But in this timeline, it is not a good idea for them to cause any crap. So that's our like tabloidy degen FUD for today. If you want a stoner cat, now is your time to buy it because they're going to destroy them after that.
If also, they don't destroy all of them.
If they don't destroy all of them. Also, if you really want to know what's going on with Stonercats, NFTs, and the SEC, the Blockchain Association has made a couple of press releases about it. So do go check out what they have to say. Now, going a little bit more technical, we've got...
Good plug.
Well, they are. That's actually how I found out about it. So, ETH is raising its churn limit. So they're going from 11 to 12. This basically means that more validators will be able to work at once and that there will be fewer validators in queue, which means that the network will be able to work faster and your transactions will go faster and possibly gas fees will decrease. So this is a pretty big dealio. JD is unimpressed.
Yeah. No, I was frozen for a second. I don't know what's going on. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're back.
Man, we're having fun today with connectivity.
It's so good.
Yeah, I mean, this is like, this is exciting in a sense. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hell, this is exciting in a sense because I think any scalability and efficiency addition for ETH is obviously critical and important because we know congestion is a problem and is only going to get worse as more and more products launch on ETH. So this is good in a sense, but I think it's like they're hyping it up to be like this huge thing that's going to like make this massive difference. I'm not sure it's going to make a massive difference, but it's definitely a step in the right direction. I didn't realize, honestly, that this was a limiting factor originally, that limiting the churn to 11 was a problem relative to limiting the churn to 12. But I mean, there's a lot of ETH validators. And there's, 924,000. So they added 45,000 validators just based on this change alone. So it obviously made a difference to some people. It just wasn't clear to me that it was going to be that big of a difference, nor was it clear to me that it was a huge problem. One of the scaling limitations. But anyways, all in all, I think this is probably good news. So I'm definitely a fan of any performance enhancements for Ethereum.
Also on ETH, Dankrad, who is, the head of dank sharding, has suggested that we rename data availability to data publishing. He thinks this will be easier as researchers and people like that on board. And he said this out loud at Permissionless on stage, which is kind of a cool, exciting little place to announce an opinion that you might have.
You know,
but
he was the
only
only person at Permissionless, though, because everybody else except for us is in Singapore for 2014. I was really surprised. I've heard that Permissionless is like half empty. And well, I was surprised that they booked it at the same time as Korea Blockchain Week and then 2049. Like that's strange to me. I mean,
well, they were around the same time last year too, but people sent like split teams, and I think that 2049 is like, it's cool. It's got a cool factor right now.
They're doing in April. In April, 2049 has one in Dubai now too. So
that's right. And Texas has lost some of its cool factor. I read recently that a lot of crypto companies were moving out of Austin, and a lot of startups are moving away from Austin, especially because South by Southwest isn't doing so well. Anyway, it's going to be called data publishing.
Yeah. So the major difference here, at least according to his definitions, is data availability involves separating the storage from the transaction processing. And what he's more concerned about is people understanding that Ethereum is working on dank sharding, which is data storage, but not necessarily transaction processing. And he wanted the differentiation in those definitions. So, I mean, this is degen in a sense, probably irrelevant to most people, but if you see data publishing start to replace the very common phrase of data availability, now you know why.
Now you know.
Now you know. All right.
Moving away from ETH, Terra is having a big upgrade. So they're going to improve their Cosmos SDK. They're going to migrate to Comet BFT and enhance their IBC. It's been passed. Over 99% of people voted yeah.
I cringe a little bit every time I see or hear Luna in any way, shape, or form. This is Luna Classic, so this was effectively a fork of the old chain and its state. I find it incredibly hard to believe that there's a path back for Luna, personally, but I understand they're trying, and I think it's a lot of larger participants got the hell out when this was all happening. And unfortunately, what always seems to happen is the retail is stuck holding the bag, which is, I think, what's happening here. Yeah. They have a big hill to climb, and I guess the first steps are, figuring out how to improve the protocols and bring it up to standard with the rest of Cosmos zones currently. And it sounds like they're doing that. So, I mean, we'll have to see. There's a lot of steps. They need to build trust. They need to build tech differentiation again, because they've had a year and a half of building nothing.
They got to work on it.
Like, there's just so much stuff that still has to happen for them to be viable. Then they have to somehow build trust in again. Then they somehow have to spark institutional interest and liquidity interest. Like, I mean, there's a lot of steps. I'm hopeful that they can rectify it for the user's sake.
Fuddy. I thought I was going to be the Fuddy one today.
I am Fuddy today. Holy shit.
How do you feel about Sol talking about bag holders? So It looks like Solana is going to have a rough time as FTX continues to liquidate assets, including a lot of Sol.
Yeah, this is like kind of one of the big narratives right now, and why the markets have been shaky, is just the FTX liquidations. No one really knows when and how they're going to be completed, and if we're even going to notice. I suspect that they'll probably come out with an announcement eventually here and say that it already happened, and we were all waiting. We were all waiting for the giant candle where they market dumped, which they won't do. Usually, they're probably trying to OTC at a discount and some other shit. Like, they're probably trying to do this off chain as much as possible, I think, so that they can manage the spreads and all of that stuff really well. Now, as you can imagine, though, the speculation of potential drops in value has caused drops in value. By trying to be worried about what may happen, you've caused it to happen. And so that's kind of what we're seeing here. 6% price decline in the last 24 hours. FTX has $128 million worth of SOL, which is a lot, but not that much compared to Sol's market cap. If they market dump it on a DEX, of course it'll have a big impact, but that'll never happen. I would be very surprised if it was market dumped anywhere. That would be very shocking.
Do you think
especially
that
with
you're going to see,
liquidity.
I'm segueing, do you think you're going to see market dumping for Binance?
No, I mean, I'm surprised that Brian Schroeder stayed as long as he did.
Fair.
I mean, they've had a bit of a revolving door of Binance US CEOs, understandably. And then now with all of the issues, like I wouldn't want to be at the helm, especially if I'm not a founder. I mean, for someone like Brian, he was an employee, probably with some share options or something. It's not CZ or somebody that is on the hook regardless. I think it's a smart, get the hell out while before you're too deep involved in cover-ups or whatever the hell is going on. Hopefully not cover-ups. I don't want to speculate that that's what's happening in finance, but anyways, they had their there's just so many,
they're doing layoffs, but their chief legal officer is now the CEO, at least interim, which I mean really tells you that
where their focus is.
That's what they're prioritizing.
I mean, obviously, and rightly so. Like they've effectively been barred from pretty much participating in the U.S. markets right now, and so all it is, at least at this point, is damage control and lawsuits with the SEC and CFTC. They have lawsuits with both, I think, right now.
Well, if you're going to be fuddy on Sol, and you're going to be fuddy on Luna, and you're going to be fuddy on Binance.
I have a non-fuddy thing to say quickly about Solana, and that is Neon Labs is launching their EVM on Solana. It's actually already live, I believe. Don't quote me on that. But I think that'll be interesting. That's been one of the biggest challenges for Solana in getting new applications to launch there is Solana Rust. Not only is it a deviation from Rust, but it's a Rust deviation to begin with, which is challenging for a lot of developers. It's a new language. It's actually a really common language, and it's in many ways more performant than Solidity by a long shot, but it's just people aren't as familiar with it. So having an EVM layer on top of Solana is interesting. We'll see if it makes a difference and moves the needle. I hope so.
Can you bring that positivity cool over to Stony? It's
on your mind today.
Sony and Startail launching their own chain. I'm guessing it's going to be a game chain, but
yeah, I would assume so. We'll have to wait and see. I mean, generally speaking, I'm a fan of seeing major institutions elsewhere, whether they're financial institutions or entertainment or media or whatever it is, participating, because it's validation of the technology, and I think it builds momentum of mainstream adoption in many different verticals. That being said, we've seen a lot of opportunistic deployments so far. I would assume Sony's not that opportunistic type group, so this may have some legs to it. I think is definitely a good sign, especially we're expecting the market to have turned, or at least be building some momentum into a bit of a rally at some point in the near future, and it's kind of an aggregate of these types of things that bring back sentiment. So this, to me, I'm not funny about this actually in this case at all.
You like it?
I think this is great. Yeah.
Okay, our last story, which I just added while we were here because it popped up on my newsfeed, is actually about the DeFi Education Fund. Do you remember when we were talking about that British dude who now lives in Australia, who has like over 100 crypto patents that he doesn't actually use? But yeah. So this is what the DeFi Education Fund is currently putting a petition against in terms of the US Patent and Trademark Office. So the DeFi Education Fund's goal is to protect people's ability to use and develop open source software. And so they see all of these patent trolls, people who are just registering patent after patent after patent for really specific niche things within the crypto or blockchain realm. They see it as really hindering kind of the ethos, but also hindering the innovation and advancement of the space, especially when a group like True Return Systems, who holds many, many patents, I didn't go look at them all because this just came up, but they actually sued MakerDAO and Compound in 2022 for patent infringement. And that's still going on. It hasn't been, hasn't been settled or anything. So the USPTO will decide by March 2024 if they'll accept the petition and review all the patents and see if people are actually using the patents or not.
Yeah, this is like super common in tech IP
Totally.
and patent trolls, and people do it. Like this is a normal business model. It's the same thing with people that buy every domain when a new domain provider comes out, and they try to either sue or sell or do whatever. Like this to me it's a little shady, but I'm not sure if they're going to be able to snuff it out entirely, but hopefully they can build some guardrails like we have for other tech IPs, where I think this is a step in the right direction. Obviously, making sure that they're actually using said patent and doing something with it other than just suing people because you patented their idea, which is kind of ridiculous. This to me is super shady and shitty, but it's common. Like it happens outside.
I know it's common, but it's kind of nice that we've got the DeFi Education Fund like looking out for us.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. I think MakerDAO and Compound both have relatively deep pockets also to fight this, and so I think it's going to be a collective effort. But yeah, definitely happy to see DeFi Education Fund. Quick shout out to them. If you're unfamiliar with them, go check them out. Doing something like this, they do a lot of good stuff for the space. Actually, they're great stewards for blockchain. So check them out. Okay, we're coming up on the end of the show today. It was a little bit of a short show just because we were a little late and I have a hard stop.
We got through all the news. We even got through an extra news.
But we got through everything. We were just more efficient today than normal. Everybody,
are we live?
We are live. Who knew? we have an amazing. We have an amazing week ahead, but I hope everybody else has an amazing rest of your week. We'll be back tomorrow with Crypto Arms Race, which is Kiara's favorite day, flying around the world, talking about different jurisdictional news items and so on. We're a live show Monday to Friday, 12:30 p.m. Eastern. Like, share, subscribe. Help us get the word out, please. And with that, today I say to you, Kiara,
Go find yourself.
Later.